What up, it's Chris from Laser Lemming and UpandLoaded.com. Today we are talking about the Nintendo Switch. I know, brand new topic on this channel, but hey, I think it's worth diving into. So Nintendo has been active, they've been busy. I've been talking about the Switch a lot lately because of the presentation that happened, and now there's a new Super Bowl ad, actually two. There's an extended version and a 30-second version. Both very good, very much better. Much better than what Nintendo was able to pull off throughout the entirety of the Wii's lifetime, I believe, at least when it came to marketing. I think they did a huge misstep whenever they had a commercial for the Wii U or any Wii U games, which was rarely. They just did not hit the mark, and I saw that from the very beginning. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Primarily, I want to talk about the online cost of the multiplayer, the online multiplayer. They have kind of announced a price, and I'm going to get into that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about that commercial. Super Bowl ad, fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out right now. It shows everything. It shows a wide range of games. It shows broad appeal games that would appeal to people that watch the Super Bowl, which is, the general public in general. But if you're the kind of person that says, nah, they need to show Dark Souls 3, they need to show a bunch of niche Japanese JRPGs. No, they don't. No, they don't. They should not. They want to appeal to a mass audience. Even though the Switch pre-orders have pretty much all been sold out at this point, they still want to get the idea of wanting a Switch into the general Nintendo mindset. Which brings me to where I am today. So, Mr. Kimishima, he's Nintendo's current president. Rest in peace, Satoru Iwata. But he had an interview with Nikkei, I can never pronounce it, but it's a Japanese magazine or website. I can't follow that too well either, but I do recognize the name. That gives me some credit. But anyway, let's talk about it. So he had an interview, and some very interesting details came out, including the fact that he believes that the Switch will sell the same amount as the Wii, roughly. And the Wii, if you remember, the original Wii, not the Wii U, but the original Wii sold like gangbusters. It beat the PlayStation 3. It beat the Xbox 360. It was the #1 contender 2 gens ago. So he thinks it's going to be huge. Huge. And, he might be right. So far, the Switch is definitely hitting all the right notes, especially when it comes to marketing, like I said. But also just because it's a system that is very well thought out. If you think about everything that's involved in this system, it's a console that you could take with you. It becomes a handheld, but when you dock it as a console, you could pop out both controllers. They could be both your controllers. They could be separate controllers. The utilitarian design is amazing on this thing, and I'm very impressed with that. So I can see why Nintendo has high expectations for this. And Kimishima saying now that he believes it'll sell as well as the Wii is not surprising. First of all, he's the president of Nintendo. He has to say positive things about a system that's not even out yet. And because Nintendo's been kind of hinting at this narrative, at least the Japanese side of Nintendo has been talking about this for a while. They really expect this thing to sell a lot. A lot. I think the first year they estimated 10 million in the first year. And honestly, it's probably all on demand. The Wii U, though, I want to remind you, if you haven't been paying attention, sold about 10 to 13, 14 million at the most in its entire 4-point-something year lifespan. So beating out the Wii U is not tough. Anyway. So there's this Twitter guy, his name is Dr. Serkan Toto, German guy who has a company in Japan. That's as much as I know about it, but he's got the blue check mark, means he's verified, and he can read Japanese apparently. A white guy in Japan that can read Japanese, surprising I know. But here he is talking about this Nikkei interview. He's just kind of giving a rough translation from what I understand of it, and he says the thing about, Kimishima believes the Wii numbers are going to be the Switch numbers. Essentially, Switch is going to sell as well as Wii. The other thing he talked about was the online, the cost to play online. Kimishima told Nikkei in this interview that the cost to play online is going to be between 2,000 to 3,000 yen per year. Translated, about $17 and change to about 29 something and change, or 25 something and change, which means probably between $20 and $30 in American currency. And, just to be a cynic, we'll say it's $30. $30. If you're paying attention, PlayStation Plus just raised the price to $60. Xbox Live Gold has already been $60 for years now. So if Nintendo comes out with whatever they call it, Switch Online, if they come out with this system, this subscription model for $30 a year, they are at the halfway mark. They are 50% cheaper than the competition. Now, we also don't know nearly enough to say that that's not justified. Maybe Nintendo does not believe that they can get away with charging $60 for this thing, and they shouldn't believe that because, as I mentioned in previous videos, their online communities have been all over the place. Sure, Mario Kart 8 did very well, but you have games like Fast Racing Neo where the online community died very quickly. And, that was an indie game compared to a AAA game, but the online community is just not there. And I'll give you another example. That game with Sam Fisher, what is it? Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell, Black Tomorrow, whatever it was called. The Wii U game. The Splinter Cell that came out on the Wii U. I own it, and I've tried to play multiplayer on it many times. Most of the times, I was able to get a match, but it took several minutes to find one. And you could never get a full game, at least when I was playing it. Could never get a full game. So, to add in the idea of now charging to play online means you are automatically limiting the amount of people that will be playing online. Some people might buy the subscription, but the subscription might lapse, and they might want to play online, but they don't want to pay to play online. I hate paying to play online. And like I said, this is half the cost, but you might get half the services. So far, people are really confused. Do you need a smartphone to do voice communications? Nintendo kind of says yes. They kind of hint that they might not need to. Do you need it to get into matchmaking, create a party? All these questions. So far, Nintendo keeps saying the app, which we will see in the summer. It's too many questions. Is there achievements on the system? Trophies? Whatever? Is there an actual party chat you can create? You're paying for it. I think you should know, but, Nintendo doesn't have the thing ready. The system is coming out in March because it needs to come out before the end of their quarterly year. This thing it's rushed, but it does look like a very solid concept. So it's ready, but, they probably would have liked a few more months to figure everything out. But, hey, this is what we know, and we don't know everything because I don't believe Nintendo knows everything. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about here? No. Oh, yes, actually. Yes. The very last thing this guy tweets about in this interview was that Kimishima said that Nintendo will announce their quality of life company or program. That was the QOL. I talked about it a year ago or so because Nintendo was talking about it a year ago or so. Iwata, that was his big thing. He wanted to create sleep monitors, like your Fitbit, except you weren't going to wear it. Nintendo's whole thing was we were going to improve your quality of life through non-wearable technology. It seemed kind of like a idea that they were just kind of throwing out there to calm investors. The Wii was very popular. It wasn't very video game related. And if you've read their video game quarterly investment meetings, you could see how much Iwata had to have been tearing his hair out at those things. Because a lot of these guys, these people that own big stakes in Nintendo, a video game company, would say things like, why do we always talk about video games in these meetings? I don't like video games. Then, bro, why are you invested in a video game company? I'm going off on a rant, but yeah, so they're going to talk about quality of life again. I was actually happy that they hadn't talked about the quality of life thing in a while because I felt like it meant that they were getting back on track. Switch was their direction. But no, quality of life is still a thing, I guess. Nintendo must have still been doing some research and development. I don't know if this is something that they're really going full steam ahead with anymore or not. But hey, mid-2017 when they announce it, that's like May, June, July. That's when we should expect to hear more, I guess. I don't know. I'm not excited about that so much myself. Also, another thing he said was that Nintendo was still interested in the 3DS, which is a little bit confusing to me because they said that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is the last Wii U game. They're not pulling any bullshit strings on this one anymore. They are saying that that's the last Wii U game that Nintendo is going to publish. There might be a couple more from indies, maybe some shovelware or some decent games. I don't know. Some Lego games from Telltale and Warner Brothers. I don't know. I can't imagine any company is dying to stay on the Wii U right now, especially with the launch of the Switch, which has so much more excitement around it than the Wii U did. Even though, I gotta say, I enjoyed the hell out of my Wii U. Just beat Donkey Kong, country tropical freeze with the Wi-Fi. Lots of fun. So the Switch is happening, and online pay is happening, and the 3DS is still happening. That's where I was going with this. He said that they're developing games for the 3DS and the Switch. Wii U, nail in the coffin for Nintendo, but they said that the 3DS is a great system for kids now. So it's no longer the 2DS that's for kids, the 3DS ecosystem in general. You're still playing with that. You're a child. You're a baby. You're a punk-ass pussy, according to Nintendo. My words. So the Switch is for the grown-ups. And if you actually pay attention to the commercials, most of the people playing are adults, I guess. This new Super Bowl ad actually does feature a child or two enjoying Mario Kart and ARMS. The whole thing looks good. I gotta say, it looks good. But I don't want to be too excited and act too non-critical thinking about this whole thing, because I think there's a lot to be critical about. This thing, let's say the online's $30, well, you still have to deal with this maybe, and we don't know the setup of their whole free game a month thing. Sounds like it's a rental. But let me know your thoughts, comment section below. What do you think of every single thing I just told you about right now? What do you think about the 3DS still being a thing? Because that means development resources are still being used on a separate platform. Now, how many of them will be used? It doesn't mean every single developer that was developing 3DS games is going to keep on only developing 3DS games. Some of them, probably most of them, will move on to the Switch. I think you're still going to get some Pokemon ports on the 3DS, also on the Switch, but I think as games are ported to the 3DS and the Switch, I think the 3DS games will definitely suffer. You're looking at a 240p screen on the 3DS and a 720p/1080 screen on the Switch. So there's definitely some advantages, and I think the developers are going to have some trouble bringing games to both, especially equally. It's not going to be equal at all, but to even appear on par between the 3DS and the Switch, it's not going to happen. But those are my completely unbiased thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section below. Tell me about what your thoughts are on every single thing I just said. Do you think I'm right? How right do you think I am? Let me know. Subscribe more if you have not already. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.